What's up, people? Welcome back to the Boxing Objective. Another video, but unfortunately, I'm sure you've all heard that Plant versus Canelo is off. Now, before I get into this video, I just want to let you guys know that at the 200 subscriber mark, I'm going to be giving away a whole slew of boxing related prizes. All you have to do to enter into the prize draw is like, comment and subscribe. Once you've left your comment, I'll have your name and I'll be able to put it in the hat for the prize draw. I will be announcing all the lucky winners at the 200 subscriber mark, so make sure you leave a comment. Best of luck. I've also got an Instagram page by the same name, The Boxing Objective, where I'm sharing a lot of different content related to boxing, fighter profiles, a few exclusive memes and videos. And it's also a good way to get in touch with me in regards to any subjects that you want me to cover on the channel. So please feel free to give me a little follow there. Thank you for all the support so far. So I've come to the conclusion that if there are any boxing gods out there, they have got a strange sense of humor, because they're enjoying picking us up and dropping us down time and time again. I mean, my goodness, how on earth have the powers that be in and around this fight managed to let this one slip through their fingers? I remember previously speaking about the situation with Canelo and Caleb Plant and how maybe PBC could drop the ball if they don't respect Canelo's position. And I believe that there is an element of that in this. I also think that there's a bit of an element of Canelo maybe being a bit of a diva. So the time that has passed since they've been trying to make this fight happen, and it is been made perfectly clear that it's not going to happen, there are a few different things that I think we need to shine some light on to make us understand exactly what's going on, because there are elements of this that has got me scratching my head and I can't figure out what it is exactly the problem was. Now, as you know, as we walk along life's road, and sometimes when the shit likes to hit the fan and then we're standing there trying to figure out, you know, exactly what went wrong, there's always like three sides. There's their side, there's your side, for example, and then there's the truth, which is usually a mixture of everything that's happened. What is it that usually goes on in these situations in boxing? They start the blame game. No, it was them. And then that side says, no, it was them. So let's really look at it here. The first real piece of evidence that jumps out in my face is that this is in fact the very first Canelo fight that has ever fallen through. Nobody ever wants to miss up the opportunity to fight the cash cow, the pound for pound king, the face of boxing, because this is a fight that's going to make your career, you know? That's career high payday money right there. So yet again, we're faced with the same common denominator, stopping a massive fight going through, and it is the PBC, because this would not be the first time that the PBC have done this. They've done this to Gervonta Tank Davis when he wanted to fight Lomachenko. They've done it to Tank Davis when he wanted to fight Devin Haney. They did it to Wilder when Wilder was offered that massive 100 and odd million deal to go over to the zone. And I just don't understand why. But if I look at it from a PBC viewpoint, and I look at Canelo versus Caleb Plant, right? Now, they did try to tie Canelo down for this 3-fight deal, and Canelo was not interested. So think about it. What is really in it for PBC, right? You've got the cash cow of boxing coming over, fighting your guy, taking the belt, you give him $40 million, and then that's it. He's off to go off somewhere else. So from a PBC standpoint, I can see why they wanted more out of it. And considering that their contract with Fox is going to be up very, very soon, they probably wanted to use Canelo in order to justify getting a further contract with Fox. And now that, you know, they're just left with the guys that they had in the first place, and look, no disrespect to these guys, they've got a lot of good fighters, but none of them are Canelo. None of them can bring in the kind of following Canelo does. Now, I did say this in my previous video, or one of the previous videos I did talking about this fight, and it's just kind of crazy because I find it ironic that next to no guys from PBC have gotten the big fight with Canelo, but plenty of guys from Matchroom have. And if I was to speak of one guy from Matchroom who not only got the big fight with Canelo, he went on to have a few big fights after that, was Daniel Jacobs. And that's why he left PBC and joined Matchroom. And very shortly after him joining Matchroom, he got the Canelo fight. So what is going on over there? It's just like a cult-like a cult-like group that don't want to, you know, share with others and take away from their brand. And I think even recently the PBC announced, I think it was Leonard Ellaby who announced that Tank Davis is only going to be fighting people in-house within the PBC. And I just think, like, Jesus, man, like, what the hell is that? What is that? And as a lot of you may already know, the LDBC and the PBC are like Batty and Bench. A lot of these guys who have got this cult-like following for Wilder and other PBC fighters is generally in the LDBC community. And I just don't get it. I really don't get it. I think right at the top of the big three promotional companies in regards to people who are looking to further the sport, you've got to put Eddie Hearn there, because Eddie Hearn is willing, out of all of these guys, he is clearly the most willing to do things and put things in place just to make fights happen. Now, I think that Eddie Hearn does want to make money. He knows it's important to make money. He wants to make money for his brand. He probably wants to make a bit of money for himself, even though he was, you know, he's always been in and around money because his dad was always massively successful. But sometimes the way he goes about things, it's like he's just motivated to do things for the sport and for the fighters. And you do not see these same characteristics over there at PBC. And it's gonna cost them, I reckon. I reckon it will not be long until it costs them. Now, Billy Joe Saunders, Callum Smith, Rocky Fielding, Daniel Jacobs have all had no issue in getting the Canelo fight. Daniel Jacobs obviously leaving PBC, joining Matchroom, and he got the Canelo fight, as I just stated. And why was it so easy, you know? Even the Golovkin fight, though it did have its stumbling blocks, I think, where Canelo or Golden Boy decided that he wasn't ready for it yet. He had to vacate the WBC title. But then after fighting Miguel Cotto, he decided he was ready. He's like, okay, I'm a proper middleweight now. And he did. He went on the full Golovkin twice. No problem getting both those fights done. So it's the PBC, I think. And imagine, even Golovkin in the position he was the B-side to Canelo. So what do you think Caleb Plant is? I mean, I like Caleb Plant, but he is not going to be bringing in 70,000 fans to watch him. But Canelo will. Canelo brought in 70,000 fans fighting Billy Joe Saunders. And I mean, Billy Joe Saunders' profile in America is nowhere near that of Canelo's. So what's going through your mind over there, PBC? Now, Caleb Plant did in fact post this. Canelo was offered the highest guarantee of his career. He was set to make 40 million plus Mexican TV rights and his Hennessy sponsorship. No problem. Let's fight. We gave it to him. Then they wanted upside of the gate and pay-per-view revenue. No problem. Let's rumble. It was always agreed that it was a title unification. No rematch for either fighter. Towards the end of the negotiations, they asked for a rematch when they lose. No problem. You can have the rematch as well. I just want to fight. I question whether legacy or money is the real motive. We've been waiting for him to get done with his wedding, shooting his TV show, his golf tournament, and now have tried to give him everything he wants and more to make this fight. And that was Caleb Plant told ESPN's Mike Coppinger. So first of all, with that, I mean, okay, he's stating his side of it, and it does sound very much like damage limitation is in full effect there. And that's understandable. PBC, Caleb Plant, they don't want to lose face on this. But why haven't they mentioned the deal that was on the offer from the Zone? Because I'm pretty sure that there would have been no problem if you guys couldn't decide on that side of the street. Oh, but of course, you're not going to be allowed to go over and play in the neighbour's park, are you? Because that's not what PBC do. And for you to suggest that, you know, you've given Canelo this, you've given Canelo that, I mean, that's a bit ridiculous, because Canelo already had the sponsorship from Hennessy. And him being the superstar that he is the A side. You are the B side. And all of these things that you're saying that he's requested, they are nothing out of the ordinary when you are negotiating with an A-side fighter. Anthony Joshua's done this recently, put a rematch clause in there. And I mean, I'm pretty sure that Floyd Money Mayweather made some A-side style negotiations and things that, you know, are only going to be in a kind of contract where you're having a fight with the face of boxing. This is Canelo, for Christ's sakes. And what's the first rule, right? The man who's got all the gold makes the damn rules. And that's who Canelo is. And PBC, Al Heyman, they wanted to be able to tap into that resource and use Canelo. And Canelo wasn't down for that. And at this stage in his career and the magnitude of who he is to boxing, you're not going to be able to tie him down. The man has made the choice to have his freedom specifically so that he could go over to your side of the street if he needed to. And when he came over there, he was even willing to go onto your network. You guys couldn't make the fight happen. So I don't think Canelo's to blame for this one. I really, really don't. I think it's PBC because they don't have a good track record. Now, Eddie Hearn has said that, you know, he wasn't the lead promoter on this thing. He did have a hand in it, but he left it to Canelo and his lawyers. He said he saw the deal, they spoke about it, and then Canelo and them went forward because they decided to choose what PBC were offering as opposed to what DAZN was offering. And I mean, straight up, they just couldn't come to an agreement. So with that being said, as I stated in my previous video, Canelo is not short of options. All right, there's people lining up to fight Canelo because of what it means for their career, what it's going to mean for their bank balance. And it looks as if he's just going to go straight up to light heavy. Like I stated in my last video about this, it's pretty obvious that Dimitri Bivol is the front runner. I believe, I'm not sure if he's in fact with Matchroom, but he has strong ties to Matchroom, and I think they're going to have absolutely no problem making that fight. But in a recent interview, Eddie Hearn did say that the fight that Canelo really wanted was the Caleb Plant fight, but it looks as if we're not going to get that. And I mean, Canelo will obviously be vacating or relinquishing the super middleweight belts as he moves up a weight. And then these guys that are over there at PBC, yeah, they're going to be fighting for these belts, and who knows, you might get an undisputed champion out of those guys, but they're not that interesting. They have no commercial value. They have no commercial appeal. There's no casual fans that are going to be tuning in. I mean, the hardcore fans are going to know who these guys are, but PBC, you don't have anybody to really sell. And I don't know if Fox is going to keep him, and we'll have to wait and see what happens. But we know what Canelo's going to do, and yeah, that's going to be an interesting watch, whichever direction he decides to go. But anyway, people, that is me. I hope I covered everything. Let me know what you think of this video in the comment section below, and I will be back soon, and I will catch you on the next video. Peace.